it's VJ.
It's James.
And this is
A Sip
and a Shot. Woo, 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 woo.
I really feel like I'm on Disney Channel.
You know, we grew up on that Disney Channel. I don't think no one else has that Disney Channel. If you're listening to us, James has just done the Disney Channel movie. Remember?
The Disney Channel movie. We had to like say your name. Yeah. You're like, and you're watching a Disney Channel movie. Boom, boom, doo, doo.
And then you do some kids.
And then there's like kids flipping.
Yeah.
In a white background. Like there's nothing on the ground. They're just flipping through the air.
Flipping through the air. Y'all, we are so excited about our autumn drinks. Our sip and our shot. It looks really tasty. I'm scared it might be a little bit too sweet for Jane, but she'll be fine. She'll drink it anyway.
Story of my life.
So our shot is called Pumpkin Pie Shooter.
I think it's going to be more of a pumpkin cream.
Pumpkin cream? Okay.
Yeah, because it don't look real pie.
It doesn't give pumpkin-y.
Yeah, and I served a lot of pie today. It don't look like that. Looks like whipped cream.
It does look like whipped cream. So we're going to call it our pumpkin cream. This is a sip and a shot original recipe. We're not really sure how it's going to taste.
Good.
It has pumpkin flavored whiskey.
Yep, pumpkin flavored whiskey. Some pumpkin spice creamer, almond milk, and then some whipped vodka.
Whipped vodka.
Cheers
to the good.
Cheers to the bad.
Cheers to all the things we wish we had.
Clink,
clink, clink, clink, clink. It's giving pumpkin spice, bitch.
It's giving almost Cinnamon Toast Crunch Shooter.
It is. But remember we smelled it. It's a whiskey called Pumpkin. And we smelled it and it's almost giving a fireball, but it's not as like burning.
Yeah, it's not as like
fireball.
A jarring scent.
Yeah.
And that was the only type of pumpkin flavored anything in the liquor store now that it's November.
Yeah.
So I had to ask the person and he was like, this is all you have. So whatever, but it's good. I like it.
It tastes good.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable calling it a pumpkin spice though. Like something with a spice.
Yeah.
Because it does have a spice to it.
It
does have that like pumpkin cinnamon spice, not creamy. It goes down creamily, but it doesn't taste creamy.
It's like if you had pumpkin pie, not that I eat pumpkin pie.
So you don't really know.
Okay, fine. If you had sweet potato pie, imagine this pumpkin pie, and then you put whipped cream on it or ice cream, and you mix that together.
With a little allspice kind of vibe. Yeah.
Like it's a little spicy. That.
It was good though.
Yeah.
Cheers to us.
Yeah.
Listen, y'all, we be coming up with some stuff.
One of these days you'll get a recipe book.
I was talking to Kelly and we went out for brunch and she was like, having a cocktail is not a bad idea for brunch. I was like, girl, it was good. We have to do a tasting. That has to be like on our 2022 list of things to do because it ain't gonna happen. The way this year is closing out, it ain't happening this year. Sorry.
It won't be no time soon.
Sorry to you.
But one of these days we will.
Yeah.
In the future.
It'd be cute. Future.
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
Side.
In the near future.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is called a apple bourbon. Autumn apple bourbon fizz.
Yes. So it has heaping amounts of apple butter.
Yes.
Bourbon, cinnamon, and then ginger beer to top it off.
Yeah. We've never had a drink. I'm actually kind of nervous because it's reminding me of the milkshake that we tried to make, the boozy milkshake.
Oh, that was a rough day. Cheers.
It's our best picture though.
It's good. It's good.
It's really good.
I wish it was colder. Like if it was like really cold, it would be.
Or maybe even like hot.
When I say heaping amounts of apple butter,
like
almost half a jar.
Yeah.
Of apple butter for two drinks.
Yeah.
And it was questionable when it was coming out that shaker.
Yeah.
Things looked real bleak, but then you put the ginger beer on top,
and it just it makes it evens everything on out.
It does. It's not too sweet. It has a little kick from the ginger. I feel like
this
I'm on a
is
baking
like
show.
a bomb ass apple pie almost. That's the kind of vibe it's giving, like a boozy apple pie.
It is. That's a real.
Yeah, that's a good full. Like,
That's a good one. I wish there was like a little acid in it somewhere, but
you're not getting the acidic kind of thing from the ginger beer. Like
I
little
get
fizz, like a little carbonation.
Yeah, I get that, but I wish there was like a
salsa water kind of.
Like almost like a hint of like lemon or like something, or orange, something citrusy to like brighten it up a little bit. It's like a heavy.
When you say brighten, do you mean the taste?
Yeah,
brighten?
the taste.
Or okay.
Yeah, not the color,
but
like
it's
the
given.
taste.
I feel like if you added something citrusy, it wouldn't be like a fall winter type.
I think it would be. You know how they say that there's like the like best flavor is like umami is a little salty, sweet, like acid.
This feels good
to hit all your flavor components. I just wish it had like a little hint.
And we had that juicy ass.
Orange. That orange is delicious.
We should have just squeezed a little bit in there,
Like
or like
little,
garnished it.
Yeah.
Like did a twist.
Yes.
Done a twist.
A little
twist with a
effervescence.
Yeah.
From there.
A little zest. A little zest. Would have been good. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's also rimmed with cinnamon sugar.
Yes.
Maybe did you taste it from that angle?
No.
I didn't either.
Let's try it again. Oh. Don't need it.
Yeah, doesn't do anything different.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all. So let's jump into this damn episode. I'm kind of glad we decided to record today.
Oh, I
and
would
not
have been
yesterday.
so annoyed this morning waking up after recording yesterday to see the internet in shambles. What a messy Monday.
Messy Monday. So we're recording on Monday. This will still come out Wednesday, but something in my spirit is telling me that this will still be on the horizon.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we'll explain the Monday thing at a later date.
Yes. So, as you all know, the baby and Danny Lee had a full shenanigan-filled, crazy
24 hours.
24 hours more.
24 hours. We're not even at it's 9:20.
Yeah.
Not even at
so
24
like,
yet.
20 hours.
Yeah.
Of foolishness. Just plain foolishness. And I don't know if we're calling it foolishness because we're 30, but even if we were 25
it
or
would
20, it would be foolishness.
Foolish.
So go ahead. Give me your take on this.
Well, I'll say our original plan for this episode was to do drunk history.
Yes.
Which is something we've talked about before, and we both like history.
That's like the one thing. It's only a few things James and I could watch
together. And not be like,
history is one of them. Documentaries is like one of them.
So today when VJ sent me like a topic, including the baby and Danny Lee.
Yes.
I was like, so you want to tie this into drunk history? Because I got somebody who
lined that right on up.
OG, triple OG.
Yeah.
Same shit, different time period, different century. Anywho.
So our drunk history idea came from, I found a World War II documentary.
Yes.
And I looked up a World War II documentary back around the September 11th anniversary because I was on a call with some of my colleagues and who were in New York the day of 9/11, and across the street in the building, like some of them worked in the World Trade Center, so they were giving their stories, like their experiences, not stories because that sounds a little weird, but they're sharing their experiences.
Right.
And someone said, this was the highest since Pearl Harbor, and I was like, you know what, babe, you don't know much about Pearl Harbor. So I decided to like search on Netflix for World War II stuff and found like World War II in color. Like,
yes, that's a good one.
It was so, I called Ty. I was like, girl, this World War II shit is off the chain.
It is.
And I hadn't even got to Pearl Harbor yet, but I wanted to get to Pearl Harbor because it is something that happened on U.S. soil, but you don't think about it happening on U.S. soil like you do 9/11. Well, for me, I don't think about it happening on U.S. soil. A, because it happened in 1941.
Yes, we were not even thoughts.
And B, because when you think of the mainland,
yes,
which is New York and D.C., So just figuring that out and looking at it, I'm like, these men are crazy. And you appreciate the war game of it.
Yeah. Like the strategies
of it. And it's like, well, what? See, if you had cell phones back then, that shit wouldn't have happened. And it's like, you gotta, knowing you have to listen and kind of being frustrated that you had these, for me, being frustrated that you had these people in the White House, in Congress, making these decisions for these young kids.
Yes, like young.
Like when you see them, they're,
they're like teenagers.
They're teenagers. They're 18, 19, 20 years old.
Yep.
Hundreds of thousands of men being killed. And then, so the thing about Pearl Harbor that got me.
What hit me with it? Because
a few things got me in how, like, they moved all of their planes because they thought something was coming.
Yeah.
Because this is just when GPS was coming out and, like, learning how to decipher code. So they moved all of their planes, right? Mm-hmm. Onto one, like, we're just gonna put everything right here.
Yep.
Take it off the boat, put everything right here.
Yep.
But these are men in Hawaii with these beautiful Asian Polynesian women.
Yep.
The sun, the sand, the salt.
Life is good.
They, you can lay in the bush with a woman.
Yeah.
You can just lay out with a woman. So they were like lounging, and it was one man who said, "I think there's something coming," but they didn't, like, they weren't paying attention to it. Like, they thought it was a glitch. It's like 7 to 10 big ass
kamikazes.
Shipping like ships.
Yes.
And then the fighter jets, but then they still didn't have like the technology that we think of now.
Right.
Like, I remember watching Red Tails.
Yes.
And I was like, this is really, it looked like, man, this could happen. But back, 60 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so watching that is kind of what got us into this drunk history. And Jane was sharing her, like...
Yeah, as soon as she said she watched a World War II documentary, I was like, oh.
You were like, you gotta watch this one.
World War II, like, that's my... Well, one, I think it's my favorite set of history documentaries because that's the one that has the most information for it. Like, you don't really hear... People don't really talk about Vietnam.
Korea.
Yeah, or, like, Korean War. Yeah. Or World War I, there wasn't really much documenting happening other than photos and a few films.
I did start watching like a documentary on World War I because I didn't know how it started, but then I kind of saw some shit in my research that we'll circle back to later.
Child, World War I drama.
Yeah.
Okay. Drama. Yeah. And I just love history, and I always feel like such a history nerd because I will sit up like go to sleep watching World War II documentaries or on a Saturday be like, okay, History Channel, military history. All of the above.
I can't go to sleep on it though. Only because I'm like into it, and I'm gonna be pissed if I like fall asleep and miss something, and then I have to watch the whole thing over again.
History Channel military history show the same sets of them.
Okay.
So usually I'm like, okay, I've seen this set, or I've seen like episode 2 and 3, but I haven't got to 5 and 6. But I can just read. I know y'all gonna play that again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Especially Veterans Day.
Yes,
September 11th. When they like really push out all the documentaries. But yeah, and Drunk History is a show on Comedy Central, and I enjoy watching it on Hulu. There's just a lot of commercials for it.
I'm not a big fan of Drunk History. I think I'm not a big fan. Let me stop.
What?
The Drunk History one that I saw was the Little Rock Nine.
Okay.
And I've read books on Little Rock Nine. I've seen the movies. Yeah. I've seen the documentaries, and it wasn't funny. And I think I was a little bit too sensitive to Drunk History for Little Rock Nine because that shit ain't funny.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny.
The
Nothing
one that
about it was funny.
The one, like, they do a bunch of different topics over like years, but the one that I saw was. One of the first ones was about Claudette Colvin, who was before Rosa Parks. She was darker skinned, sat on the bus, refused to move, and then Rosa Parks kind of became the face of the movement.
Yes. The mother of the movement.
Yeah, which nobody really talks about Claudette Colvin
and she was 15. She was a kid.
Yeah, she was a kid.
Yeah. Do you think? Ooh, we might be getting a little spicy here. Do you think that she wasn't the face because of her skin complexion?
Yes.
You think it's because of her skin complexion or her age?
Both. But I think skin complexion because I think back then, having somebody that was fairer skin might have gotten a little more of a pass from people. And so it's kind of like they're a little easier on the eyes. If they're the face of the movie, then it's like people can associate like, oh, well, she's,
well, she looks sweet. She could have passed.
Yeah, she
so
could
they
pass.
should have let it slide.
Yeah, or like, and this is an older woman, like a little more leverage.
And was she older? I wonder how old she was. She had to be like in her 30s.
I don't know. The pictures would make her look old.
The pictures definitely made her look old, but I think when Angela Bassett played her, she looked a little young. We'll find that later.
But yeah, the Claudette Colvin, I was like, child. And then I just like that it's people like us sitting here drinking, telling the story, but of course they're getting drunk. So when their words start slurring, the actors start slurring their words as well.
Yes.
And she kept, at the end, they kept trying to say Birmingham, but they kept saying Burning Man. They were like Burning Man. And like the actress is like outside the Burning Man. And I was like, y'all are good. Y'all are good. Y'all are doing a great job. Okay. Some are funny, some are not. Yeah. Some are very educational.
Because that was the first one I saw. Because I knew the story, I'm like, this shit is not funny.
Yeah. So they
like it had some funny parts, but like in trying to make light, I think I was like,
no.
But like.
The Teddy Roosevelt one was good.
See, I think maybe if I watch those, because I don't know a lot about Teddy Roosevelt.
Me either. It was talking about him going to war, like battle, and they did some on Lewis and Clark.
Okay.
Sacagawea, like they have a whole, and Sacagawea was not fucking with them. Like in that, she was like, no.
Like probably how it really went.
Yeah.
So that is how we wanted to do Drunk History. We wanted to get like all of our not fun stories, but like the things that
some of our favorite.
Yeah, some of our, what's your favorite war? I'm assuming World War II.
World War II, which sounds so crazy, but historically,
or to know about.
Yeah, to know about, to learn about. I could read, watch. I read books from that time period. I love the time period.
Yeah,
that's mine.
Mine would be the American Revolution. I just like reading about their battles, like the Revolutionary War. And
the Revolutionary War.
The Civil War.
Okay. I was like,
I like the Civil
War
War.
for Independence or Civil War.
I like the Civil War, but I feel like I know more about the Revolutionary War. Like I like the American history. The funny part is I would not have been involved in it, but I do like the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
Like the British and the coats and the red coats coming up. Like that's how war used to be. And I think when we went to war 20 years ago, that's how I thought it was gonna be. Like people marching through the streets.
Yeah, and that was
not like that at all.
No, America said not on our watch.
Not on our
Not over here. Not over here. Not no more. Not no more.
So that's what this episode was supposed to be about. But then, thanks to DaBaby and Danny Lee, we decided to,
switch it up.
Do a little pivot.
Switch it up. Because a lot of people think that history is not relevant to everyday life. But let me tell you something. People have been raggedy for centuries. So before we get into the century raggediness, we're going to start with today. We're going to start with today's raggediness. A hot ass mess.
What you think about this Danny Lee and DaBaby shit?
It's a mess. It's sad to see. I have a lot of mixed feelings about it. Like a lot of mixed feelings about it. Like I hate it. I hate that their relationship in the internet's eyes started off with her, or halfway in, a quarter of the way into the relationship. Because it started off, everybody was like, huh? And then after that, she pulled the yellow bone thing. And everybody was like, huh? For it to end up being, oh, she's pregnant, and then you kind of don't see them around each other at all.
Yeah.
For this to be what the next
thing we saw
was. It was like, oh, you knew she had the baby. The baby shower was beautiful. You're like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe the baby ain't the daddy.
Yeah, because it was a lot of like,
who's the daddy?
Who's the father? And she was like, y'all know who my father's child is, so don't worry. Like, I don't have to say it because y'all already know. And
it's like, we don't.
I think I have mixed emotions, and we went through our mixed emotions when we were choosing the music because we were gonna, if we're being honest, we were gonna do a Danny Lee song and like support her.
Yeah.
We're gonna do the baby because you won't get no coin off of us again. And which really sucks because I really like the baby.
I really enjoy his music.
I really liked his music. I like the way his voice sound, but now it's like the most irritating thing to me.
Yeah,
but
raggedy.
Like it was mixed emotions because on one end, the yellow bone thing threw me for a loop.
Yes.
And for me, it's never a good thing to discuss skin tone in a hierarchy.
Yes.
Type of situation.
Yep.
And then B, it's not good to do that in general, but B, it's really not that great to get pregnant by a chocolate man after you've publicly said yellow bone is what they like. Especially
considering that he has a chocolatey baby.
He has a chocolate baby. And you could have his chocolate baby.
Yes.
And I just don't think it's positive. I hate that shit. Anyone who knows me... Anyone who knows me knows that I hate the light skin, dark skin, skin complexion argument. So on one end, like the mixed emotions came in because on one end you want to support her, and you want to women empowerment. Like she shouldn't stand for this. But on the other end, it's like when you set yourself up with foolishness, what are you like?
What do you expect?
What are you gonna get back?
Right.
Like what are you gonna get back?
And you knew what the situation was, but every woman thinks that they can change somebody, that's what I saw a lot today. It was like everybody thinks they could be the exception, the unicorn, the girl that's gonna change everything, that he's gonna fall in love with and magically act right. But nobody's gonna act right until they're ready to act right. And somebody was talking about how people are always like, oh, where are her friends? But people don't leave until they're ready to leave, whether you have friend or family or cops.
She got a damn charge over there, man. And you know what really pissed us off? You're not gonna get me on two lives. There was a tweet that said, it's a lot of people out here say it couldn't be me or it wouldn't be me. And I don't think that's fair. I think that comes across very judgmental. But what I will say is if you got me on live once, you're not going to get me on live twice.
Not again.
You might have got me on that one. And you told me to leave.
You might have caught me slipping the first time.
You might have caught me slipping the first time. But that second one, I'm not gonna
in
be
the
there.
Same fit with no bra on.
Then call a savage. You're not gonna have that opportunity. You can make that live with me somewhere else.
And laughing about it. And then holding my baby that I pushed out and carried for 9 months. Our daughter, that's the one thing that pisses me off mainly, is that there are so many men out here that treat women bad and have daughters. And it's like, if your daughter got treated like this, what are you gonna do? What would your reaction be?
Anything.
And I said that to somebody one time. He got mad. He got so mad.
Well,
he tried to treat me wrong, and I was like, coming from a man that has a daughter, and I was like, I hope she doesn't date anybody like you.
You know what my theory? You know what my theory was?
What?
The daughters are their father's karma.
Yeah.
And I'm probably giving a little bit too much of my tea. But I believe that the man or the husband, especially back in like the 80s and 90s, they may not have been cheated on, but they get to see the tears and the hurt in their children, and their daughters specifically, from being cheated on. And it's like, well, Dad, if you wouldn't have cheated, then maybe I would be good. Like, maybe I wouldn't be sitting here on the phone with you crying, trying to figure out, like, why he would do some shit like this. And as a father, like, what are you going to say?
Well, when I was your age...
Dad, did you ever cheat on someone? Why would you do that?
It just don't... It doesn't... I just don't understand how you could do that. I mean, and it's not even having daughters. You have... probably a sister, an aunt, a mother, a grandmother. You have a woman in your family, but and you've seen the hurt firsthand. That's what's like so. Like many... I got on my brother because he had ghosted someone. Now, granted, I don't remember being ghosted. Oh, you don't remember being ghosted? I don't remember being ghosted. Okay, I might have. Okay, but I remember I was like D. Sorry, P. QRABC. I was like, what are you spelling? I was like, don't ghost them. Just say this ain't it. It's not working for me anymore. And then
because you can't like be dealing with somebody for like a year and then stop returning phone calls.
Yeah, no.
I've done that, and it's not nice. I am.
That's what I was like.
To be
Been ghosted or ghosted somebody, but I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Anyway, so the whole, and I think what pissed me off is knowing that she wanted to keep her child private.
Yes.
And it's like a lot of spitefulness, and it's like, well, I'm just doing this to hurt you. You're not doing it because you're such a great dad. Because if you were such a great dad, you wouldn't be disrespecting the mother of your child while she's nursing or feeding her. Like, you wouldn't put that type of stress, because I do believe you feed that stress into your kid.
Yeah, and she might have postpartum, and that's what a lot of people are saying. Like, postpartum depression is a very serious thing, and you're sitting up here gaslighting her on the internet, opening her up to millions of eyes with everything going on in the world, pushing her out there, secluding her, making her feel judged.
That was the other thing Jamie and I talked about, because everyone's like, where are your friends? If it looks like a toxic relationship, if it smells like one, then it probably is one. And what he probably did was like seclude her or alienate her from her family and her friends.
Yep.
You know, well, I don't want my baby around all of them. I don't, you know, because they don't like her like that. It's like, well, who ain't gonna like a kid? They probably don't like your ass. But they gonna like the kid. They don't like you, but they gonna like the child. And sorry to everyone, you can love a child and not like the father.
Yeah, but there are people out here that will disown a child just because of who their daddy is.
You think so?
Yes.
Well, I mean, yeah. If we're talking about history, of course.
Yeah, history, yeah.
But
that is very true that in toxic relationships, some people are very manipulative and very good at making you feel like you're on an island by yourself, that you don't have anybody that you can reach out to or talk to or anything. And so I do like seeing a bunch of people in the comments saying that, you know, we're rooting for you, or other celebrities being like, if you need me, call me for anything, like Summer Walker did. And it's like she went through a toxic ass situation as well, publicly had a baby, but funneled all of that into her music, which, girl.
And I feel like Danny Lee can like really change her image and her, because that whole Yellowbone shit was stupid.
It was dumb.
It's just like insulting and
for no reason. And that's what Tank's advice to her was. Like, did you see Tank's
post?
Yeah,
I saw Tank's post.
Saying that you should channel it in there. And there's so many women in music that have been in a toxic situation with a man and have catapulted themselves into better situations. Sierra, Cassie,
Mary J. Blige. We're not gonna add Cassie into that.
Yeah, yes, you will.
Why?
She was with Diddy for 11 damn years.
I mean, but like,
and he loved another woman the entire time.
He loved a few women.
Exactly. While in the relationship.
I'm thinking musically, who could put their feelings into music. That's where I was going, like, we're not going to add Cassie because she got
not music standpoint, but like that have been in toxic relationships and have
Mary J. Blige,
come out of it on the other side in a positive light and like just grown so much from it
and make money to be able to take care of your kids, so you're not in this man's house for the second live.
Hours later, after the police have been called,
charged with simple assault. Man, please. You only got one time to say you're going to call the popo on me. Got to go. And I'm taking my kid. I'm going to call the police and ask for an escort. So it's no, he wants me to leave, and I would love to, and I want to leave.
And I just don't want there to be
any issues.
Any issues.
But I'm praying for her, because I feel like, I'm praying for her. It was probably a stretch. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm praying for her. My thoughts are with her. Like, like, this sucks, and it sucks that people like capitalizing like us talking about it. But this is an opinion show. We get to share our opinions. But you hope the best for any woman that you see in distress. Yes, and she's clearly in distress. Yes, like, she's safe. Don't want like, we wanted to make sure she was safe and she was taken care of. And you want that, and then you think about the little girl who has to grow up and eventually see that. Like, you're gonna Google your parents,
right? Especially them being celebrities. And I think the most important part about all of it is that the only thing is they're celebrities, and so that's the only reason we're seeing this. But this happens to tons of people outside of the limelight that are in similar situations and don't have friends, don't have anybody that they can lean on. And I'll send a prayer up for everybody. I'm gonna do a blanket.
And you know what? I want to pray for him because any man
That can do
that does not have a good mother. And yes, I said it. His mama ain't shit. Because any man who can do that, your mama ain't shit.
You know how she feel about mamas.
You were not raised right. Your sisters ain't shit. And I don't care what is going on. I don't, like it.
And you just got out of trouble.
You just got out of trouble.
You just like
it was a tweet that said he just got out of the LGBT like firing line to jump into the feminist fire line.
He been busy, and that's what we talked about. We talked about that too, whether or not like to choose like the baby song or like damn we can't play his music anymore. But it's like he's been giving us a lot of times to like boot him out, and the Lord was like
he just got hired.
The Lord
he just
was
got
like,
rehired for a concert.
You know, sometimes you ask for a sign. Like we had asked for the sign, but the Lord be like, "Hey, red flag." There was like 12 of them, and we scooted past all of them.
Yeah, we moved right on out the way
as a nation.
We thought the shit was orange and it was blaring red. And he needs to be sat down. He needs to be sat down and calmed down
all the way.
Because you can't treat people like that.
No, and it's just not okay.
Like yeah.
It is not okay. And if you think that it's okay, you check yourself.
You know what else I ain't like?
What?
You know what else I could have done without?
What?
The baby mother.
Oh,
I don't like these extra baby mothers. And that's why, I think maybe that's why you need to, for me, if I was the mother of his child, I probably was in a toxic situation with him. So I know what that is like. The only thing I would have done if it needed to be public is say, here's my number, call me, I'm on the way to compete, I'll help you, like move it with me, our children, our siblings, like you don't have to go through this. No, you don't need to be up just talking, trying to get what they say, trying to get clout.
Yeah,
I would have. Like if I know my desire is not to date anyone who has children, but if I do end up with someone who has children,
in a different situation, yes.
Then I would definitely try to have a great relationship. There's nothing like if I'm not in a relationship, and this is just my personality, I'm good. Like,
yeah, no,
I'm super good.
That situation,
I don't want
she should have just stayed offline.
She should have.
Any other situation.
That's what I'm saying. Like, reach out to her personally and be like, if you need somewhere to go, call me. You can stay here.
I just have questions about her financial responsibilities.
I wonder if it was a situation, and he probably turned off the live when he said shit like this, but you got to get out, but my child has to stay here.
Right.
Because that would be the only reason I can understand
her not leaving. Yes. My thing is, well, when y'all do fucked up stuff, now this is the manipulation in me. Jumping through so quickly. So
drink
quickly.
up.
Okay. If you gonna try to kick somebody out, you at least give yourself a paper trail to make it seem like you ain't the bad guy. Like if you gonna get online and play the victim like he did, what you should have done, think ahead, Mr. Man. I mean, if you're a psychopath or sociopath or toxic person, manipulative person, you probably, manipulative would have thought through this a little bit more, like I'm doing right now. Okay. What you do is you give them a piece of paper, an eviction notice. I would like for you to leave by this date.
But then, not at like midnight.
Not at midnight. Not at 3 a.m. Because now to the world, to the public audience, to the jury, you're a dickhead. But if you would have sat up there at 3 a.m. and been like, I told you had to leave today by 5 o'clock and you're still here, you need to go. And then people are like, oh, that's not fair. That's not fair. She knew she had to leave 10 days ago, a month ago, 3 months ago. And we agreed on it. And she signed off on it. Like, that shit is smart. You wouldn't be in this hot water.
You know what the other crazy thing, and I hate victim blaming because she is a victim. It's not hot, so you don't have to blow on it.
Well, I wanted to mix it.
Okay.
You focus on yourself. Finish your sentence.
The reason she said she was upset or he was upset was because she sent out for a plan B. Because he probably shot the club up and she didn't want to have another kid by him.
She put that in that post. And some things just need to stay offline.
All of it needed to stay offline, but since it is online, let me tell you something. You need to be smarter. If you know he wants kids and you do that, when you take your afternoon stroll, you stroll your ass to the Safeway and you order CVS and you pick it up, you take it to the parking lot, you throw it out.
How
you
long do you
bring
have to
that
wait
shit
until you
home.
can have sex? 6 weeks?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The baby's 3 months old.
I was like.
That's what? 12 weeks?
I gotta chill.
Okay.
Think about like a watermelon size coming out my cooter and then putting something back up in there.
Well, I mean, you know, that's where siblings come from.
But
if you're not ready to have kids, then, you know,
But you should not be in a situation where you have to hide your plan B.
No, you shouldn't. But B, I was talking to Key, and she was like, Veronica, in my opinion, it's a woman's responsibility for reproduction. If you don't want a kid, then you need to do what you need to do to make sure you don't have no kid. And if you get, like, this on you.
Fucked up because men should have birth control, and I'm sick of hormones fucking with my body.
I agree 1,000%.
Okay, we're 36 minutes in. We ain't got to
history. A damn history thing. But,
what are your final thoughts? Because we done jumped all over the place.
It rolled. My final thoughts on this situation. Oh, she was upset she was called a side chick, which is going to take us into our next conversation.
I was like, I said, we had 36 minutes and you talking about some,
My thing is, if we hope we're smarter, we hope we're more intelligent, and love is very blinding, or the idea or
what
interpretation
you think
of love is very blinding. But nothing is more of a reality check than that man waking your ass up and telling you to get out. That love don't live here no more. So I'll leave it on that. But now the question of, is she a side chick, came up. Because he called her a side chick.
Yeah. So where are you taking this? 37 minutes. Because we can't go into the baby and daddy Lee being a side chick no more. We have to go to mistresses.
Which leads us to our drunk history. We decided, like, we wanted to look at the different... I thought you were going to bring it in.
That's I didn't know whether you were going to go with yours
I was
or with mine.
introducing it to bring it in.
It's like, what?
So we wanted to look up the different mistresses, because there's a lot of mistresses, side chicks, in history. And if you're going to be a side... I told Jamie earlier, being a side chick is a choice. And if you're going to be a side chick...
Yep. Be a good one?
Be a good one. Jay, you got any side chicks you want to tell us about?
No, I don't have any side chicks because they were all married. They didn't last long, but they were all married.
I got a side chick.
So I have more of the baby-focused history story.
And I have more of the Danny Lee focused history.
That's why I said you got to start. So I was like, you sitting here sipping your drink slow.
I will.
And you talking about side chicks. I ain't got no side chicks.
So there's a lot of mistresses, but this was my favorite. This is Edward the 7th. He was the king. So King Edward was known for his many mistresses, making no secret of his illegitimate children. But it was Alice Keppel who was his favorite. This is in 1906, y'all. You gotta have a favorite side chick. So even attending him on his deathbed, this is how good she was. She was a society hostess. She met him in 1898 when she was 29 and he was 56. Ooh. That's a good side chick age right there. Despite the age difference, they became a couple, and her husband conveniently being elsewhere when she would come visit, when he would come over to visit. Mm-hmm. So she was even liked by his wife. She was liked by the queen because she preferred her discreet nature in comparison to the other mistresses.
Listen, if you're going to hold on to the crown, you got to get... Sometimes you got to take the L.
Well...
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to choose wisely.
Well, do you think that's true if the crown is on the head of a man or a woman?
Whoever. If you trying to keep onto the coin, you choose wisely.
Okay, let's go combine this. Through her influence, check her out. Through her influence, she was able to get a better paying job for her husband. That's good. Okay.
That's how you do it.
As well as a position as groom and waiting for her brother. So she brought the whole family up.
That's like if everybody gotta eat.
Yeah, everybody. As one of the king's most trusted confidants, she was perfectly placed to put forward the views of her ministers, who often came to her with their causes. So everybody knew, we gotta go to Alice. If we want to get some shit popping, we gotta go to Alice.
Okay.
Simultaneously, her skill as a hostess enabled her to put forward the king's views to influential society figures.
Now that's how you play the game.
Here's my favorite part. Would you say put your family on?
Mm-hmm.
She is the great-grandmother of Camilla, the bitch who was sleeping with Diana's husband.
Oh, so it runs in the
family.
family.
Runs in the family.
Well,
but that, I liked her because she put her family on. If you're going to be a hoe, be a good hoe. Be a high-class hoe. And I don't care what you say. If you a side chick, you a hoe. If you know that man is married, you a hoe. But if you going to hoe, be a good hoe. If you gonna hoe, be the best damn hoe. In the words of King and Moore. If I was a hoe, I'd be the best damn hoe. They would have put a plaque of how good of a whore I was. Okay?
Something is wrong with you.
And it is, but that's fine.
Okay. Child. Okay. So from hoes to main chicks. Side chicks to main chicks. We have Henry VIII. This looks like it's a term paper. But so much has happened. So Henry VIII is known for having a number of marriages, 6 wives.
Henry VIII is Boleyn.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I get confused with the numbers.
Yeah, it's child. And Boleyn was number 2. Okay. So Henry VIII was born on June 28th. Cancer man. A June
Not surprised.
one. Me either.
If you can manipulate that shit.
Me either.
Yeah.
And he was just pulling whatever he wanted to do. So he was actually second in line to the throne. He had an older brother, Arthur, who took the throne but ended up dying not long after he married Catherine of Aragon, his first wife. And so he ended up taking the throne and marrying his brother's widow. And that was his first wife.
Was his brother's widow. Which was common.
Yes,
yeah.
But
because in the Bible it says, like, if your brother... Doesn't it say that?
So that comes up later on. So when they were married, she ended up giving him 6 kids. 3 sons, 3 daughters. They died in infancy.
Oh.
And the only one that survived was Mary.
Okay, I remember that.
Later on, Mary Queen of Scots. Okay. Bloody Mary. All right, just the family's wide. Okay? That's why you got to get into some good old European history, because a lot of people connected, a lot of stories of old...
That's where it's at. That's where
like
it's
people
at.
Killing their husbands and then trying to take on somebody else, trying to get the throne. I'd be like, oh, child, y'all got some drama.
You gotta keep up.
Drama. But, so then he was upset that she wasn't able to give him a male heir, which is important. So, fast forwarding to 1520, about 15 years later, Anne Boleyn is on the scene.
Yes.
Hot young thing. Out here, caught the king's eye. And he was like, I'm going to leave Catherine to the wayside. Okay? And asked the Pope whether or not he could get annulled, a.k.a. divorced.
Yeah.
He decided he didn't need all that. He's the king of England. He could do what he want to do, which is why the church separated.
Separation between church and state.
Yep. Things got crazy. He also thought that it was a bad omen that his relationship with Catherine was cursed because of the Old Testament thing about marrying your brother's widow.
But I thought
it said something about a ban, and I was gonna look it up, but I didn't have time because I
thought that it says that you should take your brother's widow, like take his family as your own. I thought that's how they did it in biblical times.
I don't know. It said something about a ban, but that might have been a Catholic thing. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it does say don't covet against your
neighbor's wife. So okay, so he married
Maybe
Anne.
you can take care of him without sleeping with him.
Maybe. So he married Anne, and she ended up giving birth to Elizabeth. Shouldn't be Elizabeth I. Okay. And
that's wife number 2.
That's wife number 2. And when she gave birth to Elizabeth, he made her the legitimate heir, and then Mary became illegitimate.
Oh.
He stopped claiming her as his child.
Why?
Well, I think Mary's mother
that.
was Protestant or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he raised Elizabeth as Catholic, and that became like a whole thing later on in life. Okay. So, fast forward again. A few years later, he's injured in a horse riding accident while Anne is pregnant. She hears the news, ends up miscarrying a son, which pissed him off for some reason because he moody and he raggedy and he toxic. And he was on to the next, which is Jane Seymour. So 6 months later, he's married to Jane Seymour, and he beheaded Anne for treason and incest. And I wanted to look up what the incest is for because I was like,
have you seen the movie?
Yes,
Oh,
I
that's
have.
what the incest was for.
I just can't remember what went down. Her brother.
Yeah, they think she slept with her brother
in order to produce an heir.
Yeah, because she couldn't get a boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Child. Okay. This is what we're talking about. The drama in history.
Right.
Okay?
I like Anne because she did become queen.
Yeah,
she said, in order to get these cookies, you gotta marry me.
Okay? And she was not playing. She held good to her word. Okay? So, after marrying Jane Seymour, which they think is the one that he actually, loved.
Yeah.
She gave birth to a son, Edward the 7th.
Okay. No, because this was Edward the 6th.
Edward the 6th.
Yeah.
But she ended up dying 2 weeks later after his birth.
Oh.
So, naturally, on to the 4th wife, Anne of Cleves. She was more of a political marriage just because he wanted to get an alliance with Germany at the time. But he didn't marry her for long. They were only married for a few days, and then he divorced her.
Because wasn't he the first king to get divorced?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he was like, I ain't got time for this, and I'm going to do what I want to do.
Dang.
And so he married Catherine Howard. But 2 years later, he also beheaded her for treason and incest because they said that she was a flirt in court and she had no problem flirting with people in public and kind of embarrassing him, and he got pissed off.
You know what's the other get you? These girls were probably like 15, 16 years old. And
Oh, yeah, they're young.
In his 60s.
Yeah, well, he was 50-something when he passed. So he was like 30-something, 40.
And you know, from the movie, he looked like a fine king.
He sure did.
I mean,
well, in the pictures, like the painting, he looked a little...
Maybe not.
A little chunky on me.
Yeah.
Not chunky. Like a redhead, a ginger. He had a beard.
Which is where Mary, Queen of Scots, got her hair.
Yes. Also when Edward was born, he became in line for the throne, which also meant that Elizabeth became illegitimate as well. Oh. Right? So, his last wife was Catherine Parr, who seemed the most liked by his daughters because she's the one that brought them back into succession. Okay. And kind of helped Mary build her relationship back with her father.
Okay.
Even though Mary and Elizabeth never met each other, even though they were sisters, because he kind of banished her off and she was off in Scotland and Mary was at home.
Have you seen the movie Mary of Scots?
Yes.
Scots? Yeah.
Yeah. And I just listened to her on a podcast. I can't remember what the name of it is. They do all royal stories. It's very good. And I'm like, every day, who is next?
Royal story.
Yeah. So he died when he was 56 while married to Catherine Parr, and that meant that his son Edward, who was 9, became king, but he died 6 years later. And then Mary became queen for 5 years, but then the whole Protestant Catholic thing, she's illegitimate, not legitimate. Elizabeth was the one that took the throne, and she became the longest ruling Tudor in history. And then, Mary, Elizabeth, shit got wild. We're not going to get into that today, but...
We might. Maybe we should do, a Drunk History series.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
I think that'll be fun.
I think it would
series, but how we do social media week?
Yeah, because that story, the read that Elizabeth gave her, even though I didn't understand half the words was in there, I was like, oh, I know. She was like, girl, where is your friends? Where are your friends, and why you acting so raggedy in court? I'm trying to save you. You my sister and everything like that, and I don't know you like that. But you moving mad. You're being big wild. And now I'm going to have to cut your head off.
You sound like the girl who, acts like she's from Southeast but has grown up in Woodmore. Yeah. But that's how I'm assuming that's how Mary sounded. Or
Elizabeth sounded in her proper English, old timey English. That's what it sounded like. Girl, where is your friends? You're doing wild things. People thought she killed her husband and married the murderer of her husband while he was being looked at like he was the main suspect. Married him, and Elizabeth was like,
"What you doing, sis?" Mind your business. You over there, you worry about
But
what's
that was
going
when she
on
was trying to
over
get the throne from Elizabeth. And she was like, listen,
there. Let y'all
they've been
sleep.
trying to get me to behead you for a long time.
Don't come up here and try to take my spot.
Now you marrying murderers on my territory.
Your damn daddy was a murderer. He murdered your mama. If we want to talk about murderers, he murdered your mama.
He sure did.
And your uncle.
And your stepmamas.
No, don't worry about what I got going on over here.
She was
You
like,
know
listen.
the next one we should look into? It was a queen who like never had any kids. Queen Victoria. Was it Victoria?
No. Elizabeth.
Who Elizabeth
The Virgin
never had
Queen.
kids. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Queen Victoria, I think, was her grandmother or something like that. Or is Queen like the current
Elizabeth is her grandmother.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Victoria's her grandmother.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Grandmother.
Man, and you know, women got some power because if you think about Elizabeth's uncle, who was supposed to be king, when her daddy George took over, left for a woman, who had ties to the Nazis, World War II, full circle.
Which was the issue, which was one of the issues of like,
Yep.
no, you can't come back. First, you're married to a divorced American.
Okay.
And then you out here eyeing, you know, with the Nazis and trying to be
Kicking it with Hitler.
Nah.
That don't make no sense. And we ain't know which side the war was they was gonna be on. They didn't know what was going down.
They ain't know.
They was like, oh, okay, we gotta watch him. And it was hard enough for Elizabeth to get damn married to who she wanted to marry, even though he was German.
I think, and also, listen, we gonna have to wrap this shit up in a minute because we're about to get into Elizabeth. Because I think the other part is, in like watching The Crown and reading a bunch of stuff about royalty, especially like that line. No one it comes across like no one wants to be royal. Like it's a lot of work they really don't want to do.
Yeah.
And it's like you put this on me and my children. Like because of this, I can't have a great relationship with my son, and because I can't have a great relationship with my son, he doesn't know how to treat his wife.
Yeah.
And she ends up dying. You know, it's full circle. When the mamas ain't shit, it's full circle.
Daddies ain't shit, mamas ain't shit. It's in the blood.
It's in the blood.
And you know, they was marrying cousins. They married, they still do. They had freaking Germany, Russia, England, and there was one other country. All of them cousins.
All of them cousins. And all of them, and that's how you keep it strong.
Yeah, you keep it in the family.
Let's wrap this shit on up. All right, this was our first like drunk history.
Yeah, they
This
got
is
real
fun.
drunk and historical at the end.
All right, y'all. It's VJ.
It's James.
And this is
A Sip and a Shot. Bye.